Welcome to the Now and Then podcast. I'm your host, Dan McCool. Join us as we dive into the fascinating journeys of professionals across the globe who have dedicated 15 or more years to their careers. Come along as we explore how their roles have evolved, the challenges they've faced, and the wisdom they've gained along the way. I can't wait for you to hear their insights. Let's uncover the stories behind the experiences of these remarkable professionals. Welcome to the Now and Then podcast. Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Now and Then podcast. Today, we're going to continue with part 2 of my interview with Jenny Rieke, a teaching artist and community arts activist.
Exactly.
So moving on a little bit here, we've kind of answered this a little bit, but if you want to go into more depth, that'd be great. I'd like to know how your personal goals and motivations have shifted throughout your career.
Well, it used to be about paycheck.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Class. As a teacher, I was always on time, and I was dedicated to my profession. That has evolved into, as I said, I want to be a resource to people. But if a little kid's in my landscape, if somebody visits and they have kids, I can't help but start asking them questions and pointing things out where they can, interesting things. And I live on an acre, and this acre is pretty varied because I have my way with it. My husband does not access most of it. So that leaves it to me. And so I like to see what happens. I like to experiment. And in my classroom, I did a lot of that, but I kind of had to have a handle on it. I had to be able to explain it. Parent-teacher conference time, I had to justify why I was doing what I was doing and why the environment was the way it was. Now, I don't have to justify myself. I feel like I'm an adult. I can do this how I'm driven to do it. And now I'm into native plants. And can we switch from irrigation, lots of water, to what wants to live here? And can it be beautiful? So that's my new endeavor, is can we kind of shift over this acre to something that's a little closer to earth friendly? And that's something we're both interested in here. So if young people come around, I kind of force it on them. Notice this. Look at these plants. These want to be here, and you don't have to water them. Isn't that cool? So I can't shut the teacher up in me. That's just the way I am. And it's not like I have the right answer. It's like I got this experiment going on. If you notice today and you come back a year from now, maybe you'll notice something else. So it's just a matter of every day noticing things. And I'm kind of always attuned to my surroundings. That's the way I am. And so my classroom is now my life. And if I had a classroom to set up, I know that's a dream, is to set up the dream classroom. It probably won't happen in this lifetime, but that's okay. I can try to inspire other people to do so.
Sure. Well, we plant that seed, and it'll grow one way or the other. And I know exactly what you mean. It's with my grandkids. I have 3 pretty young grandkids, and one that's like almost a teenager. And I find every day I'm doing stuff like that. I like to grow stuff and all that. And I take them outside and point out different bugs on the plants or different cool colors or flowers. And they're really curious about that. And they don't forget it. It makes an impression. And they come back and they want to talk about that again, and it's just amazing how we can have those teaching moments. I'm not really a teacher, I'm more of an experiencer, but if you can pass on those experiences, I guess that does make me a teacher in my own small way.
Sure.
Which is
good teachers share what excites them. And
right.
If your passion is behind what you're sharing, that's good teaching. How many dull teachers have we experienced day in and day out? And they seem to have no spark of enthusiasm about what they're supposedly teaching. And that breaks my heart to think about that. If I could take
Yeah.
every single teaching student, somebody who wants to be a teacher, and unleash their passion through teaching, that's kind of the core of why I exist, I think, is to
Hmm.
help people see that you are a teacher, you have a passion, share that. Don't go down the
Yeah.
path of sharing stuff you don't really care about, because that
Right.
that teaches kids to be bored, and who needs that?
Right. Right. Well, I think that's a big step in most people's evolution in their career when they realize that it's not just a paycheck, that they have a passion and that they're good at what they do,
Yeah,
and that and they've made the right choice. And those seem to be the happiest people that I interview, people like you,
yeah,
who have actually embraced their passion and pursued what they really wanted to do. Yeah,
right. Well, I
yeah.
think the key to all of everything I do is, as a kid at K-12, all through my schooling years, I was very shy. I was very withheld. I was unsure of my value. I did not come from a situation where I was told I was valuable. I had no clue. And I was determined as an adult to make different choices and help kids find their voice. That's always been the underlying premise is, find your voice. You owe it to the world to say what you need to say and make it an intelligent voice. Why not? We got enough stupid
Yeah.
voices. Let's
Yeah.
voices.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you
Anyway,
can be anything in this world. Why not be smart?
well,
You
thinker.
know, right, right. Be a thinker, right? And
Yeah,
they're saying that smart is the new sexy. So yeah, you know?
yes, yes. Works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
well, I'm not sure this applies to you, but I'll go ahead and ask you anyway. How did COVID-19 impact your profession? I know that it really had a large effect on some people, and other people they didn't really experience it much at all. But how about you?
Well, it saddened me to think of all the kids who wouldn't be feeling their learning community. They lost their learning community. And to
Hmm.
so many young people, that's where they find meaning. And so I was very sad through COVID. Before COVID hit, I had been sequestered by my husband's health. So we were in lockdown far before anybody else. And it was
Hmm.
truly a day to day caretaking situation. So my art got me through that personally. But as far as teaching goes, I just felt the weight, the sadness of all these kids who were cut loose from what they had. Even if they skipped school on a regular basis, they knew school was there and they knew they could go if they needed to. They could at least get a meal and see some friendly faces, maybe. But it was sadness for me. It didn't have anything to do with my teaching because I wasn't teaching at that time.
Right,
And I
right. So
didn't
it's
even
more of a
try to do anything. I
right.
encouraged my friends to make art, discover art, find your art. It can be anything. Dance
Hmm.
every day, but make sure that you find your art. If you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, instead of complain and feel bad and get depressed, look for a way to express. And
Right.
that was as my activist kicked into gear, and I tried to tell people what to do, but you know what that's worth.
Sure, sure. Back to being the resource, but that's not a bad thing, Jenny.
Really.
I
I
know.
can leave your junk out on the driveway if you want to drive. I can leave you stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think a lot of people did take advantage of COVID in that way and learning a new skill. I mean, personally, I learned to play the ukulele. Um,
Really? Yeah.
yeah, it was something I'd always wanted to do, and so I thought, well, I'm just hanging out here at home for God knows how long, and as it turned out, way too long.
Yeah.
And so I taught myself how to play the ukulele, and I don't regret a second of it. And
Yeah.
now I'm teaching my grandkids how to play the ukulele. So,
Yes.
and it
Yes.
was so heartwarming the other day. My daughter posted a video of my oldest granddaughter. She's 6 now, and she's out on the sidewalk in front of her house with a little busking sign and her ukulele, and she's singing that new Chapel Roan song that's hot to go.
Yeah.
Just strumming the heck out of the ukulele and singing the song. her first busking experience right out in front of her house.
Look what
So
you've created, Grandpa.
yeah, that certainly warmed my heart. I got to tell
You
you,
bet. You bet. It took.
And
Yes.
yeah, if I hadn't learned ukulele during COVID, then I couldn't have taught her how to play. So
Right. Right.
it's pretty
Good
fun.
job.
Yeah.
That's a score. Good job.
Yeah, yeah. So, what advice would you give to someone starting out as a teaching artist today, based on your experiences?
um, well, I was told I became an official teaching artist through a program with Washington State Arts Commission, ArtsWA. And so I got the stamp, but I never joined the roster. I never made more of it officially because I didn't ever find anybody who could pay me to do the work. They sent all of us away saying, never do this work for less than $50 an hour. Always command your price.
Mhm.
Well, that doesn't carry weight over here in Eastern Washington necessarily. You go to Spokane, yeah, I know that teaching artists get paid there. But in the Tri-Cities here, I've found plenty of people interested in what I do. I've had a teacher slip me a $20 bill saying, you deserve at least something. I said, yeah, but I don't want money out of your pocket. There should be a
Mhm.
line item in every school district's budget. Teaching
Yeah.
artists, there's artists to be had here. And there are probably some that are good teaching artists. They just don't know it yet. So I would say try to command your price, honor what you do, but look for teachers who understand what you do, who are willing to give you time to plan, because planning is where it's at, and teach the teachers about what teaching artistry can do. And um, you know talk your way into an opportunity where you can show them. You got to show them what's possible, and do it for nothing if you have to. But then say, beyond this, don't you think it's worth paying for? And
Mhm.
maybe help find grants, maybe help find the money if that's what it takes. Be willing to scrounge, but teaching artists get a lot of juice out of it. I mean, it's an incredibly rewarding experience to go in and work with a big group of kids and take them someplace together, and nobody wants to be left out. The ones who skip school will show up for that day.
Mhm.
Um, I've never seen kids opt out of an arts experience. Even the shy ones, they show up. And the mentally disabled ones, the ones who have issues, they shouldn't be taken down the hall. They should be included. And by God, they do it. They surprise all their peers with what they're capable of to meet the challenge, and be very flexible. Flexibility is key. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to a special needs teacher interviewed here a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and that's what she was saying. Some of those kids have incredible hidden talents, that go on to be that could be teaching artists, and end up making more money than this special ed teacher who had a master's.
Right. Right. Right.
Simply
Yeah.
because that's what they did. That's what they were good at.
Hmm. Hmm.
They
Well,
totally understand.
yeah.
Yeah, they value that sort of thing,
Uh-huh.
and if you can just tap into what moves them, then you've won way more than half the battle, right?
You bet. You bet.
Yeah.
And
So if
teaching
you just
artistry needs to be part of the curriculum for teachers who want to be teachers. Teacher
right.
education. The program should have built into it every term a teaching student is there. They're
Hmm.
studying some aspect of arts integration, and they're practicing it. They're learning how to stick their toe in the water. It shouldn't be a one class. Oh yeah, I took arts integration. Yeah, I took that.
Right.
No, no. Because it's something you really have to shape according to your passion, your skills. It's got to be doable. It's got to be accessible. So anyway,
Right. And I also think it's important to I also think I'm sorry about that.
it's okay.
I also think it's important to 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 put that as part of the curriculum on a regular basis, just to schedule it in. Why not
Mhm.
have a teaching artist come in once a month throughout the
Right.
semester? Not just make it a one-time hit and run sort of thing. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no reason they can't do that.
Well, every teacher should be expected. Teachers have to show their plans to their administrators. Teachers should have in their plans at least one teaching artist over the course of the year, if not one each term. That
Hmm.
you need to seek out a teaching artist to carry this concept. And who's it going to be? Who are you going to approach? And they should at least have a list of people to approach.
Hmm.
There's got to be a built-in expectation there, and that's what we're seriously lacking. Anyway.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but again, we could go a little deeper. Where do you see the profession heading as far as teaching artists go?
Boy, I I always want to have a conversation with the people who taught me that I'm a teaching artist over in Olympia or Seattle, because I'd like to know what's the status. I don't know, and I don't stay in touch. I told you I didn't get on the roster, so I'm pretty much out of the loop, and I don't know. But I've seen some of the people I went to the course with. It was a 9-month course. They're practicing, they're doing their thing, they're being paid as a teaching artist, and I hope they're doing well. It looks to me like they're engaged. I don't know how they do on signups for new courses. I just don't
Hmm.
know, but they offer tat lab. It's called tat lab, teaching artist training lab. And so in Washington state, I know it's still a viable option. Now, whether
Okay.
they're communicating the potential, the possibilities with the arts communities. We have artists in the Tri-Cities. I think if they knew about the Teaching Artist Training Lab, they might
Hmm.
try it. But I'm not being an arts advocate anymore. And if I
Hmm.
was, that's what I would, that would be my focus. If I went back,
Okay.
I'm going to do Arts and History Day at Olympia and go to the Capitol and talk to our electeds. I used to do that. It
Hmm.
would be purely about teaching artistry, because as far as I'm concerned, that's the key to making our education system better, much better, upping
Hmm.
the ante. So,
Yeah. So
it's,
what I'm going to do then, when this is over, I'll go ahead and maybe put a link in to
oh,
that
sure.
that
Yeah.
uh,
I'll send that to you.
teaching artist lab. I'd love to put that link in here for people that are interested.
Yeah. Okay. We'll
Yeah.
do.
So let's go ahead and finish up here. My final question is, and I think I have the answer to this already in my head, but if you had to do it all over again, would you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No regrets. No, yeah. I think I would have stepped up to the presidency of the teachers union much sooner, and there's power in that position. I could have,
Hmm.
I could have laid waste out in Franklin County. I opted not to. I mean, I was busy teaching.
Hmm.
Yeah, of course I would do it over again, and I would continue to do it till the day I die. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's
Well,
wise.
and you kind of still are, I mean, you
Yeah,
have the door open, you just have
yeah,
people out to your place. I've been out there. I
yeah.
know what you have to offer, and it's incredible, and people need to take advantage of it.
Well, I'll stay on
Yeah.
the adjunct faculty list at CBC. I don't know if they'll hire me, but I'll be there.
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's always the issue. Money for the arts. Good gosh, I can't believe that we're still fighting this battle after it
Oh.
seems like forever. It never goes away.
Well, and you know what it's connected to, Dan, is too many people make it past puberty not believing that they have something to say. They've shut
Mm.
down already as a creative person. And going to my imagination, my job doesn't pay me to imagine things. My job pays me to get this task done. And so
Hmm.
imagination goes by the wayside. And now everything that you can watch on the tube, it just feeds you. It's a fire hose. And you don't have to use your imagination at all. It's
Right.
all, it's been usurped by this
Hmm.
input, and being willing to shut it off and be with oneself. You asked me about COVID, and I was thrilled with the thought of people having to spend time with themselves. I knew there would be suicides, there would be depression, there would be more drugs, all that. But those who found that they were good company because they actually had an imagination, they could be creative and no one was judging them. That small slice of humanity may wake up and be more fully human. And so I was happy for that. Because I like my own company. Pete likes his own company. We're good with ourselves. But so many people are very uncomfortable with themselves. And that to me is kind of the root of our problem. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. You know, we tend to live inside our heads too much, you know, and I mean, that's I don't mind being alone at all either. I spend a lot of time alone. I've got lots of interesting hobbies and things to pursue, and there's always that inner dialogue, you know, which is
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
never a dull moment there, right?
I'm still aspiring to boredom myself.
Yeah, I have a problem shutting all that stuff off. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, this has been a great conversation, Jenny. I want to thank you for coming on today. It's
Well,
been
thanks for inviting me. Yeah.
yeah, it's been very insightful, and I'm going to sign off now,
Okay.
and hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and continue to take risks and inspire.
Well, thanks for asking, Dan. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate your curiosity.
Yeah, there you go. Carpe diem. Stay curious and carpe diem, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well,
Be well.
thanks, Jenny. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Now and Then podcast. If so, then subscribe, like, follow, throw money, do whatever it is that you do to show support. We really appreciate it. Stay curious and carpe diem.